This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Everybody loves chicken soup, but this is a really hearty Italian chicken soup. Now, to get really great chicken flavor in this soup, I'm going to get about 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And I'm going to go ahead and brown these in my soup pot with about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I've got the heat on medium-high, so it's pretty hot. And I'm going to go ahead and pop these in and start browning them off. Now, once I get them all in the pot, we're going to season with a little kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper, and then just to give this a little something, we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now, while the chicken is browning, we can go ahead and get our vegetables ready. So I've got 1 pound of red potatoes, and I'm basically just going to cut each potato in half, cut each half into half, and then just cut the halves into about thirds. So we end up with about a medium-sized dice of potato. Then I'm going to go ahead and get 4 ribs of celery. Now, I do like to split those right down the center. And then what I do is I gather these stalks of celery, and I just go ahead and I run my knife through it. Again, I'm going for about a medium chop. Then I'm going to get 1 red bell pepper, and I'm going to go ahead and take the seeds and the core out. And basically what I like to do with the red bell pepper is, again, a medium chop. So I just cut them into some strips, gather the strips together, and then just chop through them. Now I'm just going to get 1 onion, and for the onion, I'm actually not going to chop it. I'm going to do a thin slice through it. Now you'll notice I'm just collecting all these veggies on one board because I'm going to be adding them all to the soup at the same time. Now that I've finished my onion, I'm going to go over, and you can see how nicely these are starting to brown. I want that rich color on these thighs. So I'm just going to go ahead, flip these over. I want the second side to get equally as brown. And while the second side is finishing up browning, then we can go back, and I'm going to get 4 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to go ahead and mince those. And I'm going to, again, mince them right on top of the other veggies. And for our last veggie, I've got 2 boxes of brown mushrooms, and I'm just going to cut those in half. Then as I go back, my chicken thighs are nicely browned, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those from the pot, but I'm going to leave the pot on a medium-high heat. And I want to show you, when we take that chicken out, you're going to have all these great brown bits at the bottom, and that's going to give this soup a lot of flavor. So once you get the chicken out, immediately start putting all the vegetables into the soup pot. Then I want to go ahead and just give these a quick stir, getting some of those brown bits off the bottom. And then I'm going to get all of my mushrooms, and I'm going to put those right on the top. And again, give this a nice big stir. Now you can see we've got amazing vegetables in this soup, but we need to get some liquid in. So the first thing I'm going to add is some dry red wine. And I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of that. Then I'm going to add a small 15-ounce can of just some diced tomatoes, juice and all. And then I'm going to get a large can, and this is 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. Then I'm going to pour in 4 cups of chicken stock. Then I'm going to add a little bit more kosher salt and a little bit more black pepper. It's really a good idea to kind of season as you go along with soup. And then for our last bit of herb, I'm going to get 1 sprig of rosemary. And rosemary is a very strong herb, so that's why I'm only using 1 sprig. But I do want to chop it up very, very fine. If you chop this herb up nice and fine, it will just sort of blend into the background of the soup. If you leave it in large, pieces, it will just be too intense. So chop it up nice and fine like that and pop that into the soup pot as well. Now, one last thing we need to do is we need to cut up our chicken. So I'm just going to run a knife through it. You can see it's not really chopped. It's just sort of chunked up. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right into the soup. Now, you can see that some of the chicken is not cooked all the way through. And that's okay because it's going to finish cooking in the soup. And as it finishes cooking, it's going to be releasing even more delicious chicken juices into our soup. Then what we want to do is give it one last big stir, and we want to bring this soup to a boil. So what we want to do is once it starts bubbling like this, we'll give it a final stir, and then we'll take a lid, put the lid on top, turn the heat down to low, and we'll just let this simmer anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Now, I've got some great toppings I like to put on this soup. Some shaved Parmesan cheese, some arugula, and some fresh basil. Now, for the basil, I just roll the leaves up and I run a blade through it. It's called chiffonading, and it just makes like a basil confetti. And then when I'm ready to serve the soup, I just get a nice sized bowl and I start dishing out some of this delicious, hearty Italian chicken soup right into the bowl. Then I take a pinch of that fresh basil, sprinkle that on the top, and then I get about 3 or 4 arugula leaves, and I just tear those in half and put those on top. And then I just get a nice pinch of the shaved Parmesan cheese and add that to the top. There's just something about that fresh basil and that spicy arugula that just makes this soup over the top. Well, you cannot go wrong with this hearty Italian chicken soup on a cold night. Just get a nice crusty roll and you will be so happy. Now, if you want to give this soup a try, just go to our website, visit the Soups On show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. I'll see you next time.